Hey guys, this is JohnnyMS, and today I'm going to talk about all the things that I've been through since I got diagnosed. And I've had MS for maybe 8 years almost, and I just want to talk about all the different medications and things I've been on. And if you have any questions, please comment so that I can respond. Thanks. So it all started with, I woke up one day and my hands, my entire right side, legs, my leg, my right side, my arm, both my hands by chance, were numb. I had been doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for a couple years, and I thought it was maybe a pinched nerve or something, and I was like, okay, it'll probably go away. So my wife, who's now my wife, at the time we were dating, she said, you have really good insurance, why don't you go see a doctor? And I'm like, I was just being a guy. I was like, I don't want to go. My mom was sick for a long time, and she was in and out of doctors and that kind of thing, so I just didn't want to go. So anyways, I ended up going. My primary care doctor, and he said, look, it just sounds like we need more research to understand what might be going on. So you've probably never had one, so why don't you go get an MRI? And I was like, okay, never had an MRI. Asked him a lot of questions on what an MRI even was. Yeah, so I went to go get one. Oh, I forgot to mention. So both my hands were numb. I type at work for a living, so it basically, I couldn't type. It felt like I had two thin gloves on, and it was just weird. Like, I didn't understand how to explain it. So I had my MRI. It was kind of a pain in the butt. It was much, I don't know, constricting, tighter than I expected. I'm a big guy, so it's like, I felt like I couldn't move my arms and things like that because I'm so big that I just couldn't move it. They don't let you anyways. But the point is that it just felt like I was in a coffin. Like, that's probably a phrase that people use all the time when they talk about MRIs. But it's like, I just didn't understand. Like, I was sitting there and it's loud noises and it's okay, but I did not like it. It was my first one, so maybe that's why too. So anyways, I had the MRI. Not terrible. Yeah, I hated it. It sucked, but it wasn't terrible. Like, it didn't hurt or anything. So I went back to the primary care to talk about, it was probably about a week later. I saw the primary care, and he just said, well, I have the results. I really can't tell you much. I have some ideas, but really I'm not the best person to talk to. So why don't you get an appointment with a neurologist, and if you don't have one already, which you probably don't, let me recommend one that's in my same building. They have a relationship. So I was like, okay, let's just book something. I think it was maybe a week or two later. I went to go see her, and yeah, so she saw my results, and she basically said, well, based on the MRI, it seems like you have MS, but I cannot be sure until we have a lumbar puncture. So a lumbar puncture obviously sounds really scary just by saying it. So I asked her a lot of questions on what it was and just what is involved with the lumbar puncture. She told me that the lumbar puncture would verify if I had MS or something else. So until we had a lumbar puncture with results, she couldn't really tell me I had MS or not. So that was just an idea that it could be MS, it could be something worse. So let's just go get a lumbar puncture until she can for sure start treating me. So I went, I had my lumbar puncture. It sounds, in my opinion, sounds worse than it actually was. I went nervous. Obviously I did a lot of research online of what it involves. But, so what they do is that you're in the bed, or in the patient bed. They give you basic meds. I don't know what they give you. And then they take you in this back room, and I think the pain shots, so they give you like a surface numbing type thing, injection, not Novocaine, but I can't remember what it's called, something cane. But anyways, I think that part hurt worse than the actual lumbar puncture. Maybe the lumbar puncture didn't really hurt that much because they gave me all this pain meds. But when the pain meds are going in the injection, it actually kind of burns. That part was worse to me than the actual lumbar puncture. So they give you a pain shot, maybe 5-10 minutes later, they actually do the lumbar puncture. You're hunched over, you're basically on your stomach, and they have to, I guess, do the lumbar puncture between two vertebrae, certain ones, and they pull liquid. And then they pull that liquid, and then after the lumbar puncture, obviously, they do the result, they do the test, and then they get the results. Let's say a week or two later, I can't remember exactly, I saw my neurologist, and she got the results. And she basically said, well, it's official, you have MS. And, you know, she was very matter of fact about it, which was kind of scary for me, because I literally had, I really didn't have any idea what MS was. Yeah, I did a little research online, but I didn't know what it was. Like, I was like, does that mean I'm dying? I was a little emotional. You know, I didn't have any kids at the time or anything. I was like, am I gonna die first? Could I have kids? I wasn't married yet, so it's like, is it even worth trying to get married? Just so many questions. I had a fire hose of things to ask her. I just really didn't know what to expect. So, yeah, officially, April of 2012, I was diagnosed with MS. And then the next steps started. I was like, okay, so what do I do? What's the best? She said, I was emotional, and she just basically said, do not worry. We are very lucky that we are diagnosed with MS in a time where there are already tons of MS drugs out there. If it was 20 years ago, 30 years ago, they didn't have much at all. Now they have so much more to treat MS. So, you know, I'm always trying to keep a positive light on things, and it's all I could think of. I was like, man, I believe in science. I believe in medicine, modern medicine. So it's like, okay, all I could do is hope at that point. So a few weeks later, I was put on Rebif. So Rebif is a medication, shots. I would take 3 shots a week. It was pretty painful. The shots weren't fun at all. Like, it was, yeah, first of all, you have to get used to taking shots. Well, they give you like an auto injector kind of thing, like a plastic thing that you just put on your leg, and then you hit a button and it does all the magic. Thank God, because I would hate to do it like, you know, like a lot of diabetics do it, where they actually have to stick the needle and all that. I just didn't want to do that. I mean, that just to me sounded like a nightmare. But anyways, the shots, 3 times a week, painful. I would get backaches, and just, it felt like I needed to pop my back. If you ever had a back that just, you know, how your uncle used to wrap you up and kind of pick you up and pop your back, it felt like it was like that, but it would just never go away. That Rebif wasn't very fun. It just, I don't know, it just kind of felt like, not torture, but it just felt weird. I didn't like the shots. After about 9 months, you know, during that 9 months, they would check my liver, or my blood work, probably every 2 months. And after 9 months, my doctor said, we're gonna need to stop on a Rebif. It's just, your liver levels, I'm just gonna say levels because I don't know exactly what it was. Things in my liver that were coming back on the blood tests were just out of whack. And I saw a liver doctor and all kinds of stuff, and no, we just wanted to change. So she decided that I should start on Copaxone. So Copaxone, also shots, but that one was 2 shots a day, much, much, much easier than a Rebif. I could barely even feel the needle or the drug going in. It also had an auto injector, so I'd take a shot, I think I'll say in the morning, and then a shot after work. Every day. I'm pretty sure it was every day. It's been a while, but pretty sure it was every day, and it really wasn't bad. I used an iPhone app to help me track where on my body I would do shots, because you were really pushed not to do shots in the same spot over and over again, because apparently it can really hurt your body if you do that. So I would move around my body, legs, stomach, etc. Actually, believe it or not, it sounds pretty oogie, but the stomach was the easiest spot. Like, it didn't hurt. It was, it's like you don't have any nerve endings or something in your stomach, but it didn't hurt. It was easy. I like the stomach ones best, it was thighs and arms and, but the stomach was the best. So I was on Copaxone for about 2.5 years, 2+ years. I think it was 2.5. The entire 2.5 years, I was like, no more MRIs. I do not want to take MRIs. So I didn't take an MRI for about 2.5 plus years. And she finally made me go and said, look, we just need to see what's going on. Are you getting more lesions, etc.? My symptoms weren't any worse or anything, so it's like I had no reason to need attention, right? She finally made me go. She basically said we had more lesions, so we needed to try a new med. I just was like, okay, we have more lesions. So at that point, what I learned is that more lesions equals bad, right? So the goal is to not have as many lesions, even though you can still get symptoms and other things without getting more lesions. But lesions were one of the signs that MS doctors used as, okay, it's progressing more. I stopped on the Copaxone, and then at that time, Tecfidera was kind of big. It was a pill, and she said, why don't we try Tecfidera? So I say, why don't we try? Because it's like none of these meds are, okay, you need to be on this. It's more like, this one's had pretty good results. Why don't we give it a try? Every MS drug is like that, and it's like Tecfidera or Copaxone, might work really well for others, but it just wasn't working for me. And I feel like that's where we're at with MS at this point in time. It's like we don't really know a lot about it. We know kind of, and we try things, but we don't have I'll call it a silver bullet. We don't know. If you take this med, it will help you. We just hope it will. We try. They've had good results with mice and other testing. So we started Tecfidera. So I was on Tecfidera for about a year, and then we got into the MRI, and it was just as much. Like, I got even more lesions. So she was like, you know what? You have a connection at UT Southwestern, which is one of the best MS hospitals in the nation. And I don't live very far away, maybe a tops half hour. So she said, why don't you try to get why don't you get an appointment there and just go talk to them? They have an MS hospital. Like, a piece of the hospital is only for MS. So there's a lot of really good MS. So anyways, so I went. It kind of took about a month to get an appointment. And I went to go see a doctor there. I'm not going to say by name or anything for privacy. A really good doctor. Really well known in the MS community. So I felt like I was getting to see one of the top doctors in the nation, right? So I went to go see him, and he saw my MRIs. I spent about an hour with him, which, it's always tough to only spend an hour even though you waited a month to see him. But that's how the medical system is. So anyways, he looked at all of my MRIs from the first all the way until the most recent. He basically said, you have stereotypical, standard, what he calls Hispanic MS. And I was like, that's weird. Is that like a racist thing or something? He was like, no. Apparently, Latin American MS has a very different progression than, say, Caucasian MS or African American MS. So, and I asked a lot of questions. So apparently they've done lots of tests, and based on the races, the different types of heritage, etc., they knew that Hispanic MS progressed a different way than Caucasian MS. So he said, based on that, I want to get ahead of it. I think I know where it's headed. So why don't we get ahead of it? And he wanted me to take something a little bit more potent. He advised that we take Lemtrada. He explained all the pros and cons about Lemtrada. Yes, there are some risks, but mostly positive. And apparently Lemtrada's been in the US at least for 5 or 6 years at this point, and a lot of good data. So my doctor is kind of a data nerd, which was awesome. He's kind of a researcher, you know. He researches the data and he advises you based on the data. It's not just a commercial that he saw on TV, which, oh my God, the medical industry. I was prescribed Lemtrada, and yeah, there was a risk. So I was like, I talked to my now wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, and I said, so what do you think? Actually, at this point, she was probably my fiance. Yeah, after learning about MS and all that, she was with me the whole time, and even then she was like, I'm in it with you. So I was like, great. So 6 months later, I proposed and she accepted. So we hadn't gotten married yet, I don't think. We decided to do Lemtrada. It's an infusion. If you've never heard of Lemtrada, it seems like Lemtrada and Ocrevus are two of the, I'll call it, more powerful leading MS medications right now. Only certain neurologists can prescribe it. So my old neurologist couldn't even prescribe Lemtrada. She even told me that. She said, why don't you go to UT Southwestern so they can even prescribe you things I can't prescribe. Turns out they prescribed Lemtrada. So Lemtrada, what it consists of is 2 years. So it's 2 batches, let's just say. The first batch is 5 days in a row. They hook you up to an IV, and you do it day after day for 5 days. And each IV, let's just say the IV, once you get there at 8 a.m., it's about 6 or 7 hours at least of infusions. I got very lucky. There are a lot of people that have bad reactions and things like that, and I got very lucky. It was, for me, it was pretty much smooth sailing. Like, I really didn't have any pain. I didn't have any weirdness. It was like I was just sitting in a recliner and getting an IV that didn't hurt or anything. I mean, it was awesome. So, thinking back, it was pretty awesome. So I did that for year 1, and then after the 5 days in a row, I went home, and I think they give you, I don't know, 4 or 5 days of prednisone or something, pill, steroid, and I mean, it was awesome. I didn't feel weird. I prepared to feel bad and things like that. Nothing. I mean, it was awesome. Maybe I was a little bit hungry because of all the steroids or something. I don't know. But besides that, after I did that, I literally was not on any MS meds at all. Since that point in time, I didn't take any MS drugs. I still haven't. As of up until now, I'm not going to skip ahead, but even up until now, I'm not on MS on any meds. So after I did year 1, the next year later, I did another batch, 3 days in a row. The exact same thing, 3 days in a row, 6 to 8 hours infusions per day. And then afterwards, I took prednisone for 5 to 8 days. I don't remember how many days. But anyways, still had an awesome time. It was easy. So easy. Not everybody's like that. I've done some research, and not everybody has it that easy. I couldn't say anything. I mean, it was such a good process. I recommend it to everybody. So after 2 years, I was done with Lemtrada. I haven't taken anything MS specific related. MS specific. DMTs is what they call them. I can't remember what DMT stands for. But nothing specifically to fight MS. I do take meds here and there for my walking issues and things to help symptoms that MS caused, but nothing specifically to fight my progression. The Lemtrada, it was a one and done, or a two and done, right? 2 years and then done. So haven't taken any MS meds. So since the time that I took Lemtrada, since the first time, every single month somebody comes to my house, a nurse of some sort, comes to my house and takes a vial of blood. And he or she takes it back and they do results and they show my doctor. And obviously the doctor is looking for anything weird in my levels to see if the Lemtrada is having a bad effect or a good effect, or if it's okay. Not good, but if it's okay or if it gets bad. So they've been doing that since the first time. So it's been at least 2 years now, if not more. Since I've gotten my Lemtrada infusions, I've gotten many MRIs since then. It's been years. And I have yet, I don't want to jinx myself, but I have yet to get new lesions on my MRIs, on my MRI results. They do the spine and the head and all that. That's pretty normal MS scans. And no new lesions. There's even a chance that one of them we think might have gotten smaller, which is great. I mean, the perfect goal would be for all the lesions to go away. That's like the best case. I'm not expecting that, but that would be the best case. I don't believe I've had a true MS relapse since I had my Lemtrada infusions years ago. 2+ years ago, maybe 3. I've had little MS hiccups is what I call them, where let's say I'm standing too long or I'm walking too much. Let's say I go to Home Depot and I choose to walk. And I walk, and by the time I'm towards the end of my Home Depot, let's say going around the store shopping, by the time I'm headed towards the cash register and then back to my truck, I'm usually limping pretty bad. My story in general is fairly standard of relapsing remitting MS. RRMS is what they call it. So where it comes and it goes. Like I was saying, it hasn't really come. Like it hasn't come back for a month and had issue, and I haven't had balance and walking issues for a month in a row. It comes and it goes. Luckily, if I walk too much, I can sit. Let's say I sit for 15 to 20 minutes at most, and I usually reset. That's what's key about this. I am very happy that I can reset. So many people can't reset. So I feel very fortunate that my body can reset. So that's just pretty cool, right? So I'm sitting here thinking about, so my whole journey with MS, let's say it's been 7+ years at this moment in time. The worst issue truly related to MS that I've had is vision loss, or vision issues. I didn't have vision loss. So what happened is that I was seeing double. Let's just say that I was at my TV in my living room, and I brought up the guide. So you look at the guide to see what channel you want, what you want to see. Everything on the guide was like I couldn't read it at all because I was seeing double. But if I closed an eye, I could read because I was using one eye. But if I use like both eyes, I was seeing double. So it was kind of a pain. Like I actually bought an eye patch on Amazon and had an eye patch on, and I would change eyes. So anyways, that was actually the worst it was, because it's scary. It was scary. It was a mental issue. Like I could still close an eye and I could function, but it was scary. Like I was like, God, I hope this goes away. So what we did is that I called the doctor, and the doctor said, okay, sounds good. So what she did was she had, I have a United Healthcare, and she just called the insurance company and she got in-home somebody to come to my house 5 days in a row to give me in-home steroids. So what they give you is a medicine steroid called Solumedrol. So if you don't know what that is, it's very common for people with MS. They give you Solumedrol, usually if it's anything to get your body working again. Let's say you couldn't use your legs for some reason or something, or maybe it's too hot and you had terrible balance issues and you couldn't even stand up. They would prescribe you IV steroid, very strong steroid called Solumedrol. So they came out every day for 5 days, and a nurse gave me Solumedrol. Yeah, it's not that long. It only took about an hour. Really, I didn't feel like it was doing anything until about day 4. Thank God my vision started getting better around day 4. Where I was still seeing double, but it was much less. So I just can't tell you how scary it was. The vision issues, man, it was scary. I've dealt with the balance issues, really bad balance issues, really bad walking issues, really bad, things that are MS related, but man, the vision issues were the scariest. Day 4 started to get better. I wasn't really 100% on my vision until about day 6. They stopped on day 5 giving me IVs, but truly day 6 is when I woke up and then I was like, oh my God, I'm decently normal on my vision. After the 5 days in a row, they gave me 10 days in a row of prednisone because they ramp you down. Solumedrol, like I said, is really potent, but then after that, they give you prednisone, just a pill. I think it's a pill a day, where you ramp down to 0. So after 10 days, I was on nothing and back to my normal. That was, at that time, I think I was taking Tecfidera, maybe? That was another sign that we should stop the Tecfidera and go to UT Southwestern. That was before my Lemtrada and everything. I was just trying to identify my worst issue. Here I am today. I have walking issues. I have balance issues. Those are my main issues. Really what happens is that if I stand too long, let's say I'm having a meeting at work. Luckily I'm still able to go to work. I'm still able to be normal at work. But if I stand too long, let's say in a meeting I'm standing at the whiteboard too long, I will limp back to my desk. I'm pretty sure. It used to be about 20 minutes. Luckily, it's gotten better. I think after the Lemtrada, it's probably 30 to 40 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, I would say. After about 30 minutes, I would be limping pretty bad. I still, as of right now. The other is balance. When I'm taking a shower, let's say I'm washing my legs and I have to bend over to wash. Yeah, it gets a little iffy. So what I do, I lean on the shower wall and then wash my legs, because my balance, I just don't really trust it. On that note, in the mornings when I tie my shoes, I just need to make sure to sit. I sit, let's say in my master bath, there's a bathtub, and I can sit on the edge of the bathtub and I put on my shoes. A lot of people do that anyways, but for me, it's pretty much a requirement. I don't trust myself to put on my shoes hunched over, because I will probably fall. My balance, while it is much better, I still have balance issues. So I can't rely on myself. Like right now, if I had $1 million to walk a balance beam, I would not have $1 million. Like I just wouldn't earn it. Like even right now, at this moment in time, like I always say, sorry, I keep on saying a moment in time. Like right now, if I was driving and a police officer accused me of drinking and driving, even though I had not even a drop, I could not walk a line. There's no way. Like if he asked me to walk a line, I'd be like, sir, I can't do it. There's no way. I can't do it right now. I can't do it at my doctor's office, because that's how we do stuff. We always try to do it. I just can't do it because of balance issues and walking issues, but mainly balance issues. I just couldn't do it. So I don't want to harp on all of my issues anymore, but I just want to make it clear that for all of us, life is not over. We're going to have ongoing issues, but it's important that we keep a positive attitude. I truly think that my positive attitude has helped me get better. I really do. Like, life is tough. I mean, I have to think about everything and prepare everything. Like, if I want to go to Home Depot, I have to figure out, okay, where am I going to go? I look up on my Home Depot app, what aisle is that on? Okay, how can I go there and back? I can't just take my time and dilly-dally, like Costco. I can't just take my time and dilly-dally. If I go to Costco, I need to take my scooter or I'll borrow theirs. But I can't take my time on my feet at all, doing anything. Like if I'm walking down the block, I need to plan on, okay, I'm going to walk a block. I can probably walk there, but as soon as I get there, I need to sit. And I can't really drink alcohol or anything there, because then I got to walk back. And if I'm drinking alcohol at all, alcohol really gets me where my balance is just out of whack. So I can't even walk a block. So yeah, if I plan on walking a lot, definitely can't go to a party and have a drink or two if I plan on walking a lot. Or if I'm driving, for sure. I can't risk the fact that I have alcohol in my breath, even if I've only had one, because I don't trust a police officer to know that I'm on MS. It's not like I have an MS ID card. Hey, I have MS, so you need to help me out here. Nope. There's no such thing. If there was, I'd want one. Like, I'd want a tattoo that says I have MS. So that if a police officer ever stopped me, I would be able to say, I promise you, I have MS. I have a reason I can't walk that line. Keep a positive focus. Work within your constraints. Everybody with MS has constraints. Some people have walking constraints. Some people have that they can't walk at all. They're in a wheelchair. That's, But the point is that having a positive attitude and just working within those constraints is so key to us hopefully getting better. The key to MS, I think, with a positive attitude is to focus on what we still can do, not on what we can't. Yeah, before I was an outdoorsman, I was a hunter. I would be out in the wilderness walking for miles, and that was my thing. I'd take trips for weeks at a time overseas, and I've run with the bulls. There's so much that I've done that I don't do anymore. That life is no longer. Yeah, maybe one day things go well and I can do something like that. I can travel again, but not yet. Not yet. I believe in science. Hopefully, there's a way one day that we'll have a shot or a pill or an IV that it'll make everything back to normal, how it was before we got MS. That's what I hope for everybody.